today I'm going to show you how to use texture and value to create hair, fuzziness, furriness, cuteness. But when I was a teenager, I really wanted to learn how to do a more realistic hair. And when I asked my teacher, he said something that was important. He said, you have to draw every hair. But that was all the information he gave me. There's another really important thing, and that is you have to use value. And I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to look at two artists. One is Leonardo, not that Leonardo da Vinci. And we're going to look at Garth. Not that Garth. Garth Williams. Let's begin. Leonardo da Vinci was born in 1452 in Italy. And one of his most famous paintings that you might have heard of or seen is the Mona Lisa. The other most famous painting of his is The Last Supper. But he was not just an amazing painter. He was also a scientist and an inventor. And some of the things you might be interested to know that some of his ideas were a helicopter. Yep, that's right. 500 years ago, somebody was thinking about a helicopter, a tank, a calculator, a parachute, a robot. Can you believe it? And solar power. So he was a real thinker, and besides from being an excellent artist. So here are three wonderful examples of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings of hair. Feel free to pause the video, take a closer look, or even try to recreate these wonderful examples of hair. On to Garth Williams. He's an American illustrator born in 1912, passed away in 1996, and he illustrated the covers of some books you might know, like Charlotte's Web, Stuart Little, and Little House on the Prairie. And once you have looked at his style, you will recognize other illustrations that he has done for many picture books. When you look at the way that he draws hair, you will see that he draws individual hairs and he changes the value. And I am about to show you how to incorporate those two ideas and make your own cute, fuzzy or creature or a portrait of a person. If I was going to start drawing my hair, I have kind of curls, and I was going to follow my teacher from high school's advice, which I did, I would just be drawing these curls that I had. And that, to me, did not quite satisfy my wish to draw something that was realistic. And the reason why is because it did not have value. Value are darks and lights. Another way to talk about value are shadows. Okay? So if you look at my hand here, you can see that it's lighter, and then there's a shadow here. If I was going to paint a picture of my hand and make it look realistic, you would want to have the darks and lights. So when you are drawing hair or fur, you want to have different value. You want to have a range of value. Okay? And the way to do that, there's two ways that I'm going to tell you about today. One is pressure. So you can just practice pressing hard and then pressing light. Slowly pressing hard again and then light. Hard, like that. And when you are drawing, of course, it's always good to observe because then you can see the real values, the real lines, the real shapes. But you kind of want it to be consistent. Okay, so if you do it dark here, you want to go light where it's light, dark where it's dark, light where it's light. And all I'm doing is changing the pressure. That means I'm pressing down hard where it's dark, and I'm lifting up where I want it to be a lighter value. The second way to change the value is by just having more lines. So if you are drawing a cute little mouse, you can also use a thicker side of your pencil. I like to whittle it instead of using a pencil sharpener so that my graphite here is thicker. So I have some choices. So I can do a skinny line, or I can do a thicker line just by turning it around. But back to, if I'm trying to draw a cute little mouse guy, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to have one side that has more lines. That's the dark side. Don't go to the dark side. Just kidding. Go to the dark side. You want a dark side, you want a light side. In fact, I would say I should be doing it lighter on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add more hairs with less pressure to lighten it up as the hair goes around your creature. If you look at something round, you're going to see that there's dark sides and light sides. So I'm just going to overlap some lines, and what happens is that it gets darker. Again, you can use your skills to add eyes, nose, mouth. Now I want to go back to the idea of longer hair shifting value. Shifting value, of course, translates into shifting pressure. So what I'm doing is I am drawing each hair as I go along. I'm pressing harder and I'm pressing lighter. This does take time to get all those hairs in, so I'm going to speed up the process. The first thing that you have to remember when you begin is that hair begins, or fur begins, with lines. So you want to choose the type of line and repeat it over and over. And when you repeat a line over and over, you will create texture. Then you want to add value. Make sure that you are having areas of dark and light. You can change the pressure, and you can also use an eraser to take away some of the darker areas and to create highlights. So there's all kinds of hair you can draw, all different types, depending on how you're moving your hand, what kind of line you're creating. You don't have to repeat the exact same over and over. Like here, I'm adding some short lines around the eyes and the nose. I would say for you guys, you might need to stop and start because it is a lot of lines to draw, but when you are done, you are going to be pretty excited with the finished product. And just remember, if you ever feel frustrated or like you want to quit, translate that. And what that really means is take a break. Take a little break. It's always nice. You will be surprised at how rejuvenated you will feel if you get a little snack or play a game with a family member or do something fun like that. Well, goodbye, Leonardo. We are not that Leonardo. Yes, there we go. You can see how his drawing looks a lot like the one that I did as my example. So what I want you to do is I want you to experiment with different sized lines, different shaped lines. You can have a curve, you can have straight, could be long, could be short, could be wavy, but also experiment with your value. So change the pressure And you can put more lines on one side than on the other to create a change in value. Like this little guy is darker on this side and lighter on this side. Just do some sketches like Leonardo and Garth Williams did. Here's my, whoop, silly me. Here's my little hairy creature. So I want you to experiment. And I also want you to just notice that when you're sketching, you're just making lots of little lines. And also, I added value to make the nose pop or to make the eyes look like they have a little light part and a dark part. It gives it life. So, experiment, make a long-haired creature. Make a little short-haired creature. It could be a made-up creature, or it could be an animal that you know and love. It could even be yourself if you want to. So have fun with line and value and experiment with making all types of fuzzy, hairy creatures.